Namaskar, hello and welcome to this very special tete-a-tete with Amazonians. पूरे दुनिया में हम लोग आईआईटियंस का नाम तो बहुत ज़्यादा सुनते हैं, पर एम्स जो कि भारत का सर्वोच्च चिकित्सा संस्थान है, इट गॉट एस्टैब्लिश इन 1956। एम्सोनियंस, जैसा कि आईआईटी पार्लेंस में कहा जाता है, देर आर टू काइंड ऑफ इंजीनियर्स, आईआईटियंस एंड नॉन आईआईटियंस. There is a class apart. So similarly, in the medical profession, Imzonians have been leading the name of Mother India across the globe, across the frontiers. Today, we have been joined in by a very eminent Imzonian, Professor Yash Gupta sir, who is a very veteran surgeon who graduated from the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, and then he rose to be one of the very young fellow of the Royal College of Surgeons. Professor Gupta is an expert in microsurgery and tissue expansion techniques to repair complex wounds. So, apart from his surgical acumen, which is globally well known, Professor Gupta has also very keen inroads into the Bharatiya Sanskriti, and he has been a very acclaimed author of a book titled as Science in Sanskrit Scriptures. And the book was recently launched at the House of Lords, and that's a kind of a great laurel. And sir is out here in India promoting his book across. In today's tete-a-tete, the entire purpose of this whole series, tete-a-tete with Ames Onions, we have specifically used the word onions for that matter, to the chagrin of very many veteran Amazonians. That why are you using the term onions? We said that the Amazonian wisdom is so intertwined, it is so multi-layered that it needs that expression. Similarly, on the IITian frontier, we are using the term of ions, so cations or anions, the charged spirits which are really leading the narrative of Divya and Bhavya Bharat all across. So we really welcome Professor Yash Gupta, and we would be unraveling, apart from his work and book, which is so well known, which you can all order out there. We would also like to listen to his personal life journey as a as what kind of transformation happened, like being a phenomenal plastic surgeon for that matter. He continued फिर भी दिल है हिंदुस्तानी, remain anchored into his Sanatani Bharatiya Parampara, and what kind of scientific precepts he could see, the famous scientist Schrodinger. He said that मुझे उपनिषदों में ये quantum mechanics दिखता है. Yeah. So we would listen it all from Professor Gupta, and freewheeling discussion and discourse. And before I invite Professor Gupta, I would really invite the president at Rethink India, the Amazonian who made it all possible, Dr. Surbi Vash, to formally welcome Professor Gupta on this session.
I take this very precious opportunity to welcome Professor Yash Gupta sir, Dr. Yash Gupta sir, who has been an inspiration for me, since I've known him recently. And, he has such a deep wisdom about scriptures, being a veteran surgeon himself, conducted so many surgeries in cosmetic trauma, burns, cancer care, emergency, plastic surgery, and all, from London. He has roamed the world, and he comes to our country back to, give us the wisdom which is there in our Sanskrit scriptures. I welcome you on this session, sir. And it is our great privilege and honor to listen to your nuggets of precious wisdom, illumining us all on your journey, and of course on the topic science and Sanskrit scriptures. This is a very, very moment for me and for us all at Rethink India. Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming in, sir.
Before we move on to the very interesting topic, भारत में एक प्रकार का पुनर्जागरण आंदोलन हम कह सकते हैं कि भारत की जो विभूतियां हैं पूरे विश्व भर से, वह भारत की जो चेतना है उसको उजागर कर रही है नाना प्रकार से. एंड प्रोफेसर गुप्ता's effort is great in that aspect. But as a part of this series, Professor Gupta, we would really like to know a bit shortly about your personal journey before AIIMS and after AIIMS, and more specifically as to how you continued this passion of deep studies into the Indian Sanskrit scriptures out there. We would start with that, sir, and then we will move on to the presentation of the book, sir.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me to present this very nice topic. And I thank Raghav and Survi for organizing this. And I think the time was short, so I don't know how many participants will be able to join, but maybe it can reach the wider audience through recording. Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so my personal journey, I'm kind of from Delhi all along. And I went to a school called Anglo-Sanskrit School in Daryaganj. I don't know whether how many people know that. It's like a semi-Gurukul, very, very hard, a lot of beating and, but we learned a lot. I topped there and then came to AIIMS. And after AIIMS, I was interested in surgery all along. And so I did a couple of house jobs in pediatric surgery and orthopedic surgery in AIIMS. And then I went to UK. And I was one of the youngest fellow of Royal College of Surgeons, a very, very tough exam. And they said nobody got it in first time there, but I was one of the fortunate ones. And then I continued with my training in plastic surgery and working in Oxford. And from there, I came to London, and I've been in London for last 40 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
So now what happened in 2012, I was invited to Harvard, and I was invited in the medical leadership as a fellow of the medical leadership program. And I was there with my wife. She has passed away 5 years ago, but she was a top lawyer in London. And we were both there. And one day she said, want to go to a temple. I want to visit a temple. I said, what? In Boston, where would you get a temple? But we found one. We went there, and there was a yajna going on there. And we said, what is this? And then said, this is a Brahma Samhita Hava. So I had not heard about Brahma Samhita. In fact, except Gita, I had not heard Gita and Ramayana and Mahabharata. I had not heard of very many Indian scriptures because I was, mostly involved in doing surgery for, cancer surgery, 7-8 hours operation, microsurgery, reconstruction, and so on and so forth. So there was a translation of Brahma Samhita. So I started looking at that. This is my nature. Even if I go to a church, I start looking at Bible. Let's see what's written here. So I'm very much a man who wants proof. What is the evidence? So all the time, even in my surgical practice, everything was evidence-based. So I came across some shlokas which just transformed my life. And I was so amazed, and I'm gonna share you with that. And then over the next 10 years, I started studying the scriptures. I studied Gita, I studied Bhagavatam Puran, I studied Brahma Samhita, I studied Isha Upanishad, Mahabharata, everything I studied. And I kept on finding signs everywhere. Mm-hmm. And I was so amazed. So I used to tell people, look, how much science is there? So they said, well, why don't you write the book? Mm-hmm. So I wrote the book in 2022, which was released by Karan Singh Ji at the India International Center. Mm-hmm. So this is my book, which was then awarded the International Book of Honor Award in House of Lords. And on my surgical side, my name is there in the Royal College of Medicine in London in the Roll of Honor. Mm-hmm. So, and then I've always been very fascinated by our scriptures. So I'll just take you through some of that. Yeah, I will. Awesome. If I share my screen.
Sure, you can. So this is the citation which Sir's book has really received from the House of Lords, the British Parliament, London, on 2nd of November, just the last year, for the groundbreaking research on the integration of science within Sanskrit scriptures, bridging ancient knowledge with modern understanding. And who better than a doyen surgeon with the AIIMS legacy and then group throttling with the premier institutions across. So let's hear out what Professor Gupta has unraveled, what he has seen the ancient rishis had seen, the mantras out there. Over to Professor Gupta, sir. So you can share.
Now I would like to share the screen. Is this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, no, that's it. Yeah, so I got it. All right. So now I have to go back to the beginning. There you are. Okay. Can you see the screen, everybody?
It's not visible, sir.
Yeah.
It is
Can you
showing
see it?
the index, sir. It's the file has not opened.
No, it's Science in Sanskrit Scripture. The slide. It's in the slide form. You are sharing the screen. It says.
The slide is not available.
Slide is not showing?
Not showing, sir. Can you just bring it to presentation mode or something?
Can you see now?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes, sir.
So shall we use this format?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. That's all right. Because I think when I go to the full size, then it doesn't show. Okay.
Yeah.
That'll do. Okay. So let's begin. So this is what I was just telling you about my tryst with scriptures at Harvard, of all the places of knowledge. And this is a painting of Mahabharata war with Sanskrit writing describing, Bhimaseno, Mahabhav, you can read this. And this is obviously in Devanagari script. I'm going to tell you things which you certainly would be amazed to know, okay? So now let me first tell you what my book is. And I've kind of divided roughly into creation and recycling of the universe, atoms and atomic time, mathematics and concept of zero, divine weapons, including Brahmastra, Vimanas, aircraft and spacecrafts, and medicine and surgery, of course, and Kali Yuga. So when I wrote the book, then this is how I've given the description. So Bhagavad Gita is BG. It has 18 chapters. So Shloka 9, BG 9.7 in my book will be Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, Shloka 7. Okay. And Bhagavatam Puran has got 12 cantos. And each canto has chapters, and then there are shlokas. So SB will be Srimad Bhagavatam, SB, Srimad Bhagavatam. SB 1.1.1 would be Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 1, Shloka 1. Okay. So everything is fully referenced. Brahma Samhita has got chapters and shloka. So BS Brahma Samhita 5.47 would be 47 shloka of chapter 5. Okay. And Isha Upanishad has only shlokas. There's an invocation and then Isha 1 to 18. And Sushya Samhita has got its divisions, chapters, and shlokas. So everything I've given in reference form. And this is very close to my heart because I want everything referenced. In my book, there are two pages of references in my book. So now let's look at this. This is solar system, isn't it? Sun in the heliocentric universe. So we are our planetary system. So there are 3 and 3, 6 and 8 planets going around the sun. Yeah, we know this for a long time. Like few hundred years. But what we came to know very recently is, and this is Milky Way. This is our galaxy. This is the center of galaxy, and this is 100,000 light years wide. 100,000 light years wide, and this is the solar system here, our sun, along with all its planets. And 100 years ago, we came to know that sun, along with all its planets, also has got an orbit. And this is what that orbit is. Only 100 years ago. So this is what amazed me when I looked at this shloka from Brahma Samhita. At that time, I only read the meaning, but now I know the shloka as well. Okay, so I'll read out to you. Brahma Samhita says, this is 5.52. Yat chakshuresha savita sakal grahanam raja samasta sura murti ashesh teja yasya gya varamati sambrato kal chakro govindam adipurusham tomam bhajami. So this is a prayer of Lord Brahma to Sri Krishna, Narayan, Vishnu. And when he's born from his Nabhi, then he doesn't know what's happening. And then he gradually recalls everything, what had happened in the previous kalpa. So he's describing that this is all by your order. So Govindam Adipurusham Tamam Bhajami, O Lord Govinda, I pay my obeisances to you, I pray to you, because you did this. Okay. So now what he says, Yet Chakshur, like a divine eye, Savita, Surya, Sakal Garhanam, with all the grahas, Raja Samasta Sura Murti Ashesh Teja, you are the king of all planets. And Murti Ashesh Teja is, you are brilliant, your brightness is amazing. यस्य आज्ञा भ्रमति समृतो काल चक्रो, आप कृष्ण आपकी आज्ञा से वो अपने काल चक्र में घूम रहा है सारे प्लैनेट्स के साथ. This is absolutely amazing that this shloka is probably written at least 6,000 to 7,000 years ago, and I have dated it in my last chapter in Kali Yuga, and I mean that's a massive topic as well. What is the dating of our scriptures? And I've done a lot of work on that as well. So this is at least 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 years old, this shloka. How is it saying that sun, along with all its planets, goes around in its own orbit? Okay? Whereas science only came to know only 100 years ago. Now it gets better. Now it gets really better. Now this is a shloka from Bhagavatam Puran. So SB, Srimad Bhagavatam Puran, 5.21.19. So Canto 5, Chapter 21, 19 shloka. Now listen to this shloka, you will be amazed. Lakshotram sa navarda koti yojanam parimandalam bhuvalasya kshanena sa guvyotram tvi sahastra yojanani savankate. So this is being told, Shuk Goswami is telling Parikshit Maharaj, in the beginning of Kali Yuga, about 70 years into Kali Yuga, when Parikshit is dying, and he's listening to Bhagavatam Puran, which was written by Ved Vyas and recited to King Parikshit by his son, Shuk Goswami. That's why he said, my dear king. My dear king, in his orbit through Bhumandala, the sun god traverses a distance of 760.8 million miles at this, and this is the period of over which they observe at the speed of 2,000 yojanas and 2 krosas, which is 16,004 miles in a moment. So this is, I have calculated from the Shastras that this is in 2 minutes. So in 1 minute, it is going at the speed of 8,000 miles a minute, and 60 minutes. So 8, 6 is 480,000 miles an hour. And this is the current speed of rotation of sun at the moment, 480,000 miles an hour. And it takes 230 million years for sun to go around and complete one orbit. So now this is absolutely unbelievable that it's in black and white, you can see it here. Yeah. So now, then I came across something even more amazing. So I think everybody recognizes this photo. This is from James Webb Telescope. James Webb Telescope. So in 1920s, we only knew that we have one galaxy. That is our galaxy, which we call the Milky Way. And there was a scientist, Edwin Hubble, in America, who made a very big telescope and started observing that there are other galaxies as well. So he found sister Andromeda, then Triangulum, and then so on and so forth. And then he found so many galaxies. And then he figured out that these galaxies are going away from each other. And then he calculated the constant, which came to be known as the Hubble constant of expansion of the universe. So 100 years ago, we did not know that there is more than one galaxy. So the shloka I came across, and this is another photograph from the more recently launched, a couple of years ago, James Webb Telescope. This is a quintet of galaxies, 4 galaxies together. So now look at this shloka from Brahma Samhita 5.47. Ya karan narane jale bhajati sma yog nitram ananta jagatanda saroma kupa adhar shaktim ablambe param samurtim govindam adipurusham tamam bhajami. Ya karan narane jale, you are lying on the causal ocean and innumerable ananta jagatanda. Anant means innumerable. Jagatanda is a galaxy because it's like andaka, it's like an egg shape. So if you look at it, the galaxy from the front, then it is round. But if you look at it from the side, then it's egg shaped like this. Okay. So so it's called the Jagatanda, the galaxy. So Ananta Jagatanda, innumerable galaxies are. So how does this concept of innumerable galaxies come into such an ancient, book of knowledge? So then I actually looked at the origin of universe as well. So in my book, I have compared the concepts of the origin of universe and creation of universe with the concept given in our scriptures. But that's going to be a very prolonged topic of discussion. So I'll just give you a flavor here, okay? And then this is a shloka from Bhagavad Gita. BG, Bhagavad Gita 8.17. Sahastrayug paryantam ahuryat brahmano vidu ratrim yug sahastrantam teo ratri vidujana. Now, it's a simple looking shlok, and I'll explain the profound nature of this shlok. Sahastrayug paryantam. Sahastra is 1,000. Yoga is here a chaturyug, combining the Satyug, Treta-yug, Dwapar, and Kali-yug. So the combined value which we have calculated from the scriptures of a yuga, Mahayug, Chaturyug, is 4.32 million years. And 1,000 such yugas, so that would be 4.32 billion years. Yeah, 4.32 million times 1,000 is 4.32 billion years. And Ratrim Yug Sahastrantam, or such is the duration of night. So the total duration of a day of Brahma, know this to be a day of Brahma, is 8.64 billion years. And Brahma lives for 100 years. And so the Kalpa would be 100 times 8.64 billion times 360 comes to 311 trillion 40 billion years. This is the Kalpa cycle. And then, sorry?
Please go on, sir. Someone, please. Yeah.
Okay. So now this is most profound knowledge, and we think that it's a religious book. Gita is a book of knowledge. It's a book of science. Yat Jnanam Vijnanam Sait Yat Janatva Moksha Se Ashubhat. This is what Krishna says. This idam te goyatvam, this very deep knowledge which I'm giving you, Jnanam Vijnanam, Gyan or Vigyan ke sahit, jo janta hai, Moksha Se Ashubhat. He is the one eligible for moksha. So there are lots and lots of things, but because they have to cover quite a few things. So this is just giving you a flavor of how it works. Now, this is a very common shloka, which is very commonly recited. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate. This is the invocation of Ishopanishad. Invocation of Ishopanishad. So that is complete. This is complete. Purnamada, that is complete. Purnamidam, this is complete. Purnat Purnamudachyate, complete arises from complete. Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avshishyate. Complete taken out from complete. Complete remains. So now this actually is telling us about the cyclic nature of the universe, of everything, even in our body. The blood circulates round and round and keeps circulating. And so there is a circulation cycle. Then there are cycles for glucose cycle, then there's carbon dioxide cycle, oxygen cycle. Everything for perpetuation is cyclic. So linear is not non-perpetual. Only when it comes as a circle, that becomes cyclic. So similarly, when we applied this to the number system, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, infinity, then it becomes linear. But if you apply that shloka, then it has to start where it ends. So then it's a circle. So on any point on the circle is its beginning and end as well. So that is why the 0 is denoted between infinity and 1. It's a denotation of the completeness of the numbering system. So I have applied that 0 is called shunya. So if you take out any number out of any number, 0 remains. Yeah. So you take out 1 from 1, 0. But if you take out 0 from 0, 0 remains. So what I have said is shunyamidam shunyamada shunyat shunyame udichyate shunyasya shunyamadaya shunyameva vishishyate. So I have replaced the word purn with shunya and shunyasya shunyamadaya. If you take out 0 out of 0, shunyameva vishishyate. 0 remains. So this becomes true. You see? So this is, as an engineer and mathematician, you will appreciate this, that we have to postulate and look at our scriptures in a very different way. And there is a divinity angle, but if we leave that for the timing, we can discuss that in great detail. But just the science angle is enormous. Just the science angle is enormous. So now we go to next. So now look at this. This is a photograph taken because a missile was being fired and another missile was fired. And in the space, they collided. Yeah. So you can see one missile here and one missile here, and they're colliding with each other. Very recently, a few years ago, 6, 7 years ago, it has been taken. And you can see a big ball of fire rising. Yeah. So now I draw your attention to a shloka in Bhagavad Puran. Now, what is Bhagavad Puran? It starts with the end of Mahabharata. End of Mahabharata. So it's very interesting to hear a little bit of the story. At the end of Mahabharata, when Duryodhana has been injured very badly by Bhima, then this guy, Ashwatthama, who is Drona's son, he says, I'm going to kill all the Pandavas. So he goes with an intention to killing Pandavas in their sleep, when they're sleeping. And he kills 5 of them and comes back. But he doesn't realize that he killed the son of Draupadi, and the Pandavas had gone out at that time. So when Arjuna comes back and finds this, he says, this is a heinous crime which he has done. And so he goes after Ashwatthama. And he corners him, and Ashwatthama is cornered, and he knows how to invoke a Brahmastra. So he invokes the Brahmastra and fires the Brahmastra. Let's say it was in a sort of a missile. So he fires it at Arjuna. So Arjuna fires a counter missile. So this is the shloka which is describing that situation. Samhatyanyonyam ubhe tejasi shar samvrate avartirodasi kamcha vabradhat arkavahi nivrata. When the rays of the two Brahmastra combined, a great circle of fire like the disk of sun, which covered all outer space and the whole firmament of planets. Isn't this what the picture I just showed you? Huh?
Yeah.
When the two Brahmastras are colliding with a big ball of fire in the space, which covers the whole firmament of space and the planets. So how, what better description you will find of exactly what is when the two missiles collide with each other. So this is a little bit, I've written a lot about in my chapters about the Brahmastra, but this is something very interesting.
Lovely.
Now I come to a very favorite topic of mine, and everybody recognizes this, or this is a drawing by an Englishman. In fact, he's drawn a Sushrut here, the ancient Indian surgeon performing surgery on the face. And look at this clean atmosphere, the sunlight is there, and everybody's, they're kind of holding him because we didn't have the advanced anesthesia at that time, but they use opium and other stuff to calm them down. And it was very swift. And Sushruta insisted on very sharp and swift surgery so that it's done very quickly and very, nicely. So when I was at Oxford, I did a lot of work on Sushruta, and this is an estimate, and I think I need to do a bit more work on this to actually get the final dating of Sushruta, but at least it's 2,500 years old. And this work I did at the Department of Plastic Surgery in Oxford. And in fact, I presented a paper called Origin and Propagation of Rhinoplasty at the Royal College of Surgeons, and I got a standing ovation. And in fact, it's very interesting. Professor Antia attended he was the famous plastic surgeon from Bombay, and he came and congratulated me on my work. I have a photo somewhere, I haven't put it in. So, but I'll tell you a little bit about that how plastic surgery, as described by Sushrut, came to West. Okay, shall give you a brief description. So this is a paper which is in Bodleian Library in Oxford. It's from Gentleman's Magazine, 1794. This was published in 1794, and this is a lithographic printing. At that time, they used to etch it and then were able to print it. There was no photography at that time. And this is the photograph of, if you look at it, it's got a big scar on the forehead, yeah? And this is a photograph of a chap called Kovaschi. He was a bullock cart driver used to work in Pune. And he went to South, and Tipu Sultan said, "You are working for the English, you are a traitor." So he chopped his nose off with the famous sword of Tipu Sultan as a punishment for being traitor. So this guy comes back, and the governor of Pune said, "What is this? Tipu Sultan has given us a slap on our face, and we can't have him roaming around in the society with his nose chopped." So he said, "I've heard that there are people here who can reconstruct noses." So there was a surgeon there from England as well. He said, I don't know how to do it. So then they found out that there was a family of Kumar. Kumars are the potters who've been doing this procedure for 500 years at least in the family. So they summon the Kumar. Mm-hmm. And this has all been documented. So the Kumar comes and does this operation. And this is also from that publication, which was witnessed by the surgeon and the lithographer. So what he does, he raises a pattern, he makes a wax pattern, puts it on the forehead, and then elevates a flap, and then brings it down to reconstruct the nose. So this was described in 1794 as a nasal reconstruction by forehead rhinoplasty. So this came to be known as Indian forehead rhinoplasty in the West. And then they knew that Sushrut had done rhinoplasty as well. So they said, Sushrut's Indian forehead rhinoplasty. So I looked at Sushru Samhita and I found that he used to do cheek flap rhinoplasty from the cheek and not from the forehead. I did not find a description of forehead rhinoplasty, but I found the description of rhinoplasty. So I'm going to take you through that and you'll be all amazed to hear that. I'm sure you all know that. So this is from Sushru Samhita, which has been translated in 10 volumes. And this is chapter 1, Prathamodhyaya. Origin of Ayurveda. This is how he starts. Because he athato vedat itti vyakhyam. Now I will propound the origin of Ayurveda. So now this is very different from our concept of Ayurveda at the moment with jadi booties and mixtures and this is pure surgery. He was a surgeon. So he describes other things as well later, but in the initial chapters, he describes major techniques of surgery. So I'll show you some of those. So earliest known work on plastic surgery. The book has 186 chapters, Sushru Samhita, and written in Sanskrit language. And chapter 16 deals with some fundamental plastic surgery techniques. The book was translated in Arabic and came to be known as Kitab-e-Sushrud around 800 AD. It was the standard textbook of medicine and surgery in the Middle East. Then in Latin in 1844, and in German, and then in English by Brishgratna and 1907, and then Professor Singhal from Kashi, Hindu Vishwavidyalaya. He was a pediatric surgeon, and he wrote it in 1984, and that is his credit. And he, in fact, gave me that book, which started my interest when I'd come for a conference. So now let us see. So Ayurveda equals science of life. And now look at this definition: to cure those who are afflicted with disease and to maintain the health of the healthy. So this is inherent, the holistic concept and all this, which is coming now back again. It's been there all along for at least 2,500 years, if not more.
Okay.
Sushru Samhita, and these are the subdivisions described in his book: surgery, medicine, ophthalmology, ENT, obstetrics, psychiatry, pediatric. This is the curriculum of a modern day medical curriculum, isn't it? And he described.
Very true, sir. So beautifully. I mean, these 8 subgroups are so very pertinent and.
So now look at this. So Ayurveda, and then this book. Then we go here. Oh no, I'm going the other way. Yeah. Now I pick up here. Okay. So now this is what I'm showing here is a map of 600 BC. Okay. And these are they were Panchal, Kambodge, Matsya, Chedi, Magad. Magad is Patna, isn't it? So this is Kashi, Banaras. So Sushruta used to practice in Kashi. And he learned it from Bhagwan Dhanvantri. Now there are two Bhagwan Dhanvantris. One is the one who appeared at the time of churning of the ocean, who brought the nectar. Now we don't know whether it's the same Bhagwan Dhanvantri who gave this knowledge to Sushruta, because in every says Yatho Ovach Bhagwan Dhanvantri, ऐसा भगवान धन्वंतरी ने हमें बताया. So Sushru Samhita is great detail of who all were present to learn from Bhagwan Dhanvantri. So this is 600 BC. This is the map of. Now this is. So I sort of established, and this is my paper was how the plastic surgery was propagated. So origin in India, and then from India, how it went to Europe. Okay. So I traced that in Arabia, there was a Kitab-e-Sushrut, then there in Greece, then in Rome, then they were, and Tagliacozzi and all, they were big surgeons in 16th century, how they did operations and so on and so forth. That's a big story. I won't go into detail, but I traced the propagation of rhinoplasty. And now look at this. Reconstruction of lost earlobe using a piece of skin which is attached to the cheek and is alive by continuation. So this is the first ever description of a flap. in the whole world. Sanubandhena jivita, that which is alive by its connection. So all the flaps are alive by blood supply, which is coming from the base. So Sanubandhen, this is the first time, people came to realize, and this is what I presented to the Royal College of Surgeons, and we got a standing ovation for that because they had not realized how advanced the plastic surgery was. And I'll show you some examples, okay? So now, so this is what he did. So if an ear lobule was lost, he raised, and these are my drawings, these are my interpretation. So he raised a cheek flap and then put it here, rotated to reconstruct the ear lobule. And now then he described, now I would describe the proper method of rhinoplasty where the nose has been cut off. See?
Sir.
And then, so this is my interpretation, that nose has been cut off, and he would raise a cheek flap and will rotate it to reconstruct the nose. So taking a tree leaf the size of nose and placing, or nose defect, and placing it on the cheek, a flap should be raised. So this is exactly how he raised the flap, and then he put the flap here. And this is the description. Having examined the nose, which has been properly sutured and correctly shaped, the same should be fixed by 2 tubes and elevated on the powder of red sandalwood. Madhulika and Rasayana should be sprinkled. This is a magic powder. I think we should patent this powder. But, and look at the details. It should be dressed properly with white cotton and should be soaked repeatedly with sesame oil and grita, ghee, and should be administered to patient after the previous meal has been properly digested. So looking after, nutrition and everything post-op. And when the graft has been properly taken, so it takes about 3 weeks for the flap to develop its blood supply independent of the base. So then we snap the flap. So the base of the same should be snapped, and it should be adjusted. Short graft should be elongated. So he is very aesthetic here. So this is what it does. So this has been snapped, and this final appearance. Then he described number of instruments, and these are some of his sharp instruments which he described: the needle, the knife, amazing. And then he described blunt instruments, the bone holder, the bone holding forceps, and other forceps and things. I've detailed in my book. And also he described cleft lip surgery. Now look at this. Plastic surgery of the hair lip should be similar to that of rhinoplasty, but without the use of 2 tubes. So he doesn't need the tubes because it's just coming down. And I've made and this is one of my patients. I operated on this patient. And just using it to show that he would use a flap from the cheek and would cover it and put it in this defect. And I think now we are more advanced because we also join the muscles now of the lip. But he did not describe, maybe he described somewhere else. But this is how detailed one has to go and discover the real things which are described. You can't just say superficially कि हमारे यहाँ ये होता था, वो होता था. I think those days are gone now. And so this is one of my patients, and this just to show that this is a basal cell carcinoma cancer which I've excised, and I'm going to drop a glabellar flap. I raise this flap and then I drop it down, so there is no scar here. Okay. So this is essentially showing the rotation of a pedicle flap. So I was awarded World Leader of Plastic Surgery. Name is in Wall of Honor at Royal Society of Medicine. Visiting international professor, alumnus of the Harvard Leadership Program. Nice to be recognized. But now I would be more recognized with my book, which is Science in Sanskrit Scriptures. Thank you.
Phenomenal, phenomenal indeed, Professor Gupta. And one very important thing which I was mesmerized all through कि सर की जो एंग्लो संस्कृत विद्यालय की जो शिक्षा है, जो संस्कृत श्लोकों का जो वाचन है, एक प्रकांड संस्कृत पंडित की भांति, द प्रोसोडी, द इंटोनेशन,
Thank you for the kind words, but I did not know Sanskrit when I was studying in Anglo Sanskrit school. उसका नाम Anglo Sanskrit school है, but there was no Sanskrit taught there as such.
Okay, okay. So,
So I picked up this all by myself.
okay, okay, okay.
Sure.
This is so very profound and very important point what sir brought about is the level of detail at which we have to go. 50,000 फीट व्यू से हम जो बात कहते हैं कि सब कुछ हमारे शास्त्र में था है, आई थिंक दैट इज मोर ऑफ इमोशनल सेंटिमेंटलिज्म. इट हैज टू बी double clicked, triple clicked, and when a professional of his stature he goes back and corroborates it with the modern medical practice, I think that's where the authenticity of the Indic knowledge systems, something which is being pushed so very well by the UGC in a new education policy.
Yes,
That this
yes.
and this has to somewhere go back and back. A kind of a handshake has to happen कि प्राच्य और पूर्व की जो विद्याएं हैं उनके साथ जो handshake है, there is no competition. I think a convergence is what is needed in this age of fourth
Yeah.
industrial revolution.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. So we have to have a modern take on this,
Yeah.
and as everything has to be substantiated. So I take on a lot of people. In fact, I met a professor of history from Oxford at a function, and he got friendly with me. We got talking because I was from Oxford as well. So he said, I don't know much about Indian history. So I said, if I asked you, when was Mahabharata war fought, what would your answer be? So he said, oh, Dr. Gupta, this is a mythology. There was no Mahabharata war. These exact words he used. I said, if I told you that this was fought in 3139 BC in the month of November, what would you say to that? He says, what? That is like before Egyptians. This was his words. I said, yes, sir, this is before Egyptians. And I've documented the Kali Yuga, the Mahabharata war, even the birth of Rama. We have all the scientific proofs of that now. And this, my next book is, I'm going to write everything down, which I'm doing now at the moment. And that is using Sanatan principles for a better life. Sanatan value system.
Lovely. I think we have a time for a couple of questions. Very many
Yeah, sure.
analysts
We're
are
joined by Dr. Vipul Nanda, sir, who's also a plastic surgeon, and he's with the Artemis Hospitals here. We are also joined
All
by
right.
Dr.
Right.
Sir,
So please
and
touch
Dr.
the camera
R.K.
if you- yeah.
Also a surgeon from AIIMS. We would request everyone to please come on camera and give
Any
your
questions or comments or any observation? It's a kind of an open forum we would really like to host.
No
for-
worries. No, most welcome.
Yeah. Vipul Nanda sir, if you would like to come in, yeah.
If I don't get questions, I failed in my inquisition.
RK Saxena sir is here. Yeah.
Namaste.
Pranam. Go ahead. Ask your question.
Unmute yourself, sir. I just need to.
Unmute कर दीजिए RK सक्सेना जी को.
He has to do it as
Yeah, that's
I
it.
just enjoyed your presentation. Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So this has been, I think, a decade plus kind sir's deep dive into the Indian scriptures, and I think a medico who is really going.
और अभी अगर 2 मिनट और हैं तो मैं आपको एक ऐसी चीज बताता हूँ जिसके सुन के आप बहुत ही ज्यादा हैरान.
जी सर.
अगर मैं आपसे पूछूं कि give me a small unit of time, what would you say to that? What would you say to that? What will you say? Second? Yeah? Small unit of time? Yeah?
Yeah.
What is a second? Second is 1/60th of a minute. What is a minute? 1/60th of an hour. What is an hour? 1/24th of a day. What is a day? A rotation of sun around its axis. Yeah? This is how we conceptualize time. If I asked you what is atomic time, what would you say to that? Any answers? Atomic time.
So femtoseconds are being discovered in the formal modern
Yeah,
time.
well, no. What is atomic time? What is the concept of atomic time? Tell me the concept of atomic time.
The subatomic level when the particle electron jump is happening.
Yeah, so like cesium-133 is used to It's how many emissions it has, and that is used to stat. But it doesn't explain the atomic time. If I asked you, where would you look? You say, I'll Google it. So if you Google it, it will say where the atomic clock is in California and wherever. It won't tell you the concept of atomic time. You say you read physics. I was topper in physics. I never found the concept of atomic time in any physics book. If I told you to look at Bhagavad Puran, Canto 3, Chapter 11, Shlokas 1 to 22, what would you say to that? And now I will quote you shlokas. In fact, I've quoted in my book as well. So it says, the first shloka says, 3.11.1 says, the smallest particle which can independently exist is called an atom. Independently exist. So we are not talking about subatomic particle, we're talking about a particle which can independently exist. This is an atom. This is the first shloka. The second shloka is, two such atoms make a double atom. So Parmanu is atom and Anu is a molecule which comprises of two atoms. And fusion of three Anus is called Trasyanu. Okay? So two atoms fuse, becomes Anu. Three Anus fuse, it becomes a Trasyanu. So Trasyanu has got how many atoms? 6. So the shloka goes, Trasyanu trikam bhankate sakalen truti samrate. So 3 Trasyanus, time it takes for fusion of 3 Trasyanus is called a truti. Trasyanu trikam bhankate means fusion. So time it takes for fusion of 18 atoms, 3 times 6, is called a truti. And what is the value of truti? It's 1/1675th of a second. And I have written, according to the shlokas which have been described, I have given this value in my book, which is 500 microseconds. This is called atomic time. And then from there, it goes to kshanas, then it goes to the hours, then it goes to days, then it goes to seasons, then it goes to year, and it goes to 311 trillion, 40 billion years, the kalpa. So starting from fusion of atoms to the entire age of universe has been described in 20 shlokas.
I think we have been really very, very fortunate to receive this benediction from Professor Yash Gupta this evening. And we just had Gita Jayanti just 2 days back.
Yes, 2 days ago. Yeah.
So it's in that advent of that cosmic commemoration, we have received this benediction. And AIIMSonions, apart from being leading plastic and trauma surgeons, they're really unraveling, I would say, the Sanatan wisdom. And the purpose is obviously on that foundation, how to build upon it and to fuse, as Sir mentioned about that, the atomic time is all about the fusion of atoms, the fusion of East and the West, जो प्रकृति से with lot of instrumentation which is happening, प्राच्य और पूर्व का जो समागम है, so much of unrest and turmoil which is existing in today's era. Perhaps there are so many battle frontiers across the globe. Perhaps with savants like Professor Gupta, their work and the phenomenal, I would say, recognition he got from the House of Lords. And this is something so very important that our erstwhile colonialists, they are now recognizing, and they were the ones who documented India's traditional systems, India's knowledge systems, when they ruled us. And now our very own doyens are really going back and saying, oh, look, this is what our ancients had done. Somewhere that handshake, that samanvay, that convergence perhaps is happening. Dr. Surbi, your vote of thanks.
Yes, so indeed, in fact, this is something really so heart-touching and, scintillating to the mind and soul that we are all, going on our journeys of medical careers and professional, challenges and, dealing with patients day to day and, being, back to back on protocols, clinical protocols, and how to get the best treatments, latest treatments. So in terms of modern wisdom, we're going really gung ho. But then, the passion and painstaking effort and real deep dive which Professor Gupta sir is taking, and his true knowledge. He talks of the para vidya and the apara vidya, and every person, every professional has a para vidya side of him and an apara vidya side of him. And how
There are thank you very much, but there are two very nice slokas in Gita in chapter 7.
Sir.
This is Bhumirapo analo vayu marar buddhirkham cha ahankariti ame vinna prakriti ashtada. So these are my 8 properties of my aparashakti. भिन्न प्रकृति अष्टधा.
मैं तो
भूमि
सर से निवेदन करूंगा कि कभी वो अपनी पुस्तक का वाचन स्वरूप भी एक ऑडियो बुक भी दें, बिकॉज इतनी प्राण शक्ति से, इतनी ओजमयी और वाणी से जो श्लोकों का पठन है, आई थिंक दैट इज वेयर जो हमारा पूरा प्राणा सिस्टम है.
exactly. And then अपरायम इदम तो अन्यम प्रकृतिम विद्धि में पराम जीव भूता महाभातो येदम धार्यते जगत. And beyond this, my apara, which is my material manifestation powers, my parashakti is there, जिससे कि हमारी जीवात्माएं बनी हैं, which are eternal. And it's the combination of the material and the eternal that makes us the Jivatma.
I think lots of pranams to Professor Yash Gupta sir for guiding us, enlightening us, and we would probably get more such occasions to receive the Rishi Pragya, what he's getting into. And thanks to technology, we can get connected from anywhere on the planet.
Thank you very much. Thank you.